Okay, magandang umaga, Pilipinas. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining around the world. Welcome to today's webinar where we will discuss how to solve barriers to agricultural enterprises and innovations. What we hope that follows will be an engaging discussion on how agricultural innovations can help in agriculture and rural development. My name is Jean Labios, and I am a program specialist of the Training for Development Unit under the Education and Collective Learning Department of SEARCA, and I will be your moderator for this morning. The short video shown earlier has given you a glimpse about SEARCA and what we do. SEARCA is hosted by the Philippine government in the campus of the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. So we are coming to you live from Los Baños, Laguna, the special science and nature city of the Philippines. This Solve webinar series is SEARCA's immediate response to the emerging impact of the COVID-19 global pandemic on food security. By maximizing the use of information and communication technology platforms to inform, educate, and share evidence-based solutions and tested technologies, as well as best practices on the ground. If you are new to this webinar, this is actually the 41st webinar since it was launched a little over 2 years ago on April 28, 2020. Our dialogue today is quite special, actually, one that drums up a bit of excitement on our part, and we hope that by the end of our webinar, plenty of you will be excited to go on board with us as well. Revolving around developing agri-innovative mindsets that are willing to adapt and transition to agriculture 4.0, we have with us today experts who successfully carried out agricultural innovation projects. And we also have with us an expert who will emphasize the importance of design thinking in developing innovation success. Today's discussion serves as a pre-launch as well to an upcoming learning event of SEARCA's Training for Development Unit under the Education and Collective Department, which is what we call the SEARCA Agri-Innovator Program. So ito po ay isang soft launch. SEARCA's 11th five-year plan, which was launched in July 2020, identifies agribusiness models for increased productivity and income as one of the priority areas that would accelerate transformation through agricultural innovation. Before we proceed to our online conversation this morning, please allow me to quickly go over some statistics gathered from the Solve webinar held on 30 March 2022. Okay, the infograph shows that 73 of our online viewers were female and the rest were male. It also indicates that more than 60 individuals tuned in via Zoom and almost a little over 150 individuals viewed the webinar through SEARCA's Facebook page. So let me now go over the program flow, which is currently shown on your screen. After my introduction and a few housekeeping rules, we will have our first speaker, Ms. Joie Cruz, founder of Limitless Lab. Ms. Joie will open our discussion this morning by sharing with us her experience in working closely with Butuan City for their AgriBoost project. AgriBoost is a systemic innovation that addresses the imbalances in the city's agricultural system by empowering vegetable farmers and by forming win-win relationships with market forces, including traders and local businesses. Fun fact, AgriBoost bagged the grand prize for the 2021 Bloomberg Global Mayors Challenge. And for our international audience, Butuan City is an urban area located in southern Philippines. Our second speaker is Ms. Iloisa Romaraog-Diga, co-founder of Session Groceries. That is a Filipino farm-to-table app that connects local farmers and consumers to support local agribusiness, promote a sustainable lifestyle, and educate the local community on the benefits of eating fresh and locally grown food. They not only reach their market through online selling, but they also aim to help farmers make a better living by getting steady income per harvest than what they usually receive from traditional markets. Ms. Iloisa will be sharing with us this morning the story behind the vision behind, the story of her vision behind Session Groceries. After that, a panel discussion will follow, and we will be joined by our third speaker, Mr. Carlo Valencia. He is the founder of Startup PH Training and our consultant for the SEARCA Agri-Innovator Program. We will then be tackling further how interventions like Butuan City's AgriBoost project and Session Groceries provide opportunities to overcome barriers to agricultural productivity by designing agri-innovations. And after that panel discussion, Sir Carlo will provide a more in-depth discussion on designing innovation success. Specifically, he will highlight how a design thinking mindset will play a crucial role in helping agripreneurs and agri-innovators succeed in their respective ventures. This is where we are pleased to tell you more about our up and coming SEARCA Agri-Innovator Program. Afterwards, we will open the floor for questions again, and we look forward to having an engaging discussion with you all. And I know that you're all excited to listen to our speakers, but allow me to just go over some instructions on how you can send us your questions about the presentations. So for those who are tuned in via SEARCA's Facebook page, you may type your questions in the comments section. Kindly indicate your location now and our country of origin. If you are tuned in via Zoom, please post your questions or comments in the Q&A box, which you will find in the menu bar on your screen. So kindly indicate your location and country of origin as well. Our Solve team will collate, curate, and compile those questions for me. Sorry, and I will convey them to our speakers. Hopefully, we will be able to cover as many questions as we can in the time remaining. Please be clear when you are posing a question to a specific presenter or if it is a general question that anybody can respond to. We will do our best to get as many questions as possible during the open forum. Kindly refrain from posting your email addresses in the comments section. You can provide this information to us upon responding to our evaluation form and e-certificate request, and the link will be posted at the end of this webinar. Please note that this webinar will be recorded and will be made available on SEARCA's Facebook page and YouTube channel. Today's presentations will be uploaded on SEARCA's website at www.searca.org. The slides shown during the past webinars have been already posted there. For social media posts and especially on insights or takeaways from this webinar, please use the hashtag SEARCASolve. And if you have issues or are experiencing technical difficulties with the Zoom online platform, please contact us at solve@searca.org. So finally, we can move on to today's discussions. Our first speaker this morning is Ms. Joie Cruz, founder and CEO of Limitless Lab. She is a social entrepreneur, designer, and international innovation coach with more than 5 years of experience working with government agencies, NGOs, and progressive corporations on emerging technologies and social innovation. Since 2017, Ms. Joie has trained thousands of individuals and teams on design thinking and innovation. Her team at Limitless Lab has also co-designed various social innovations, including COVID-19 policy platforms for local government units, a marketplace for Bangsamoro women in Mindanao, an online legal aid clinic for disadvantaged people in Bangsamoro, and a platform for MSME recovery, and so on. Recently, she has also coached Butuan City into becoming a grand prize winner of the 2021 Global Mayor's Challenge by Bloomberg Philanthropies for their innovation called AgriBoost. Ms. Joey's mission is to unleash innovation capability and creativity in people. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Joie.
All right, good morning, and thank you so much, Jean, for the very generous introduction. Of course, thank you so much, SEARCA, Sir Glenn, Carlo, for having me. It's a privilege to be speaking to all of you this morning, and I'm excited to share with you our innovation journey via AgriBoost. AgriBoost is Butuan City's entry to the 2021 Bloomberg Global Mayor's Challenge. And please forgive me, apologize for my voice. I just came from a flu, so hopefully you're recovering. But again, let me introduce myself. I'm a graduate of UPLB BS Development Communication. So I actually miss going back to UPLBs hopefully soon. I'll be able to go back. When I was a student, I used to have side hustles like doing layouts for projects at SEARCA for some of my professors at that time. But like SEARCA is also very close to my heart because it's in our campus, and we've also done some work before in our coursework for SEARCA at DevCom. And after college, I worn many hats. I worked as a government employee at the DOST-ICTO, now known as DICT. And that's essentially where I learned about startups. I learned about innovation. I learned about how to merge technology and entrepreneurship. And a few years later, I left the ICT or DOST-ICTO. I actually founded several organizations. The first one was called Tactica Multimedia, which eventually failed after 6 months. And then in 2018, I founded another venture called B612 Design, which would later on become Limitless Lab. So as mentioned by Jean, Limitless Lab is a social innovation agency. What we do is we help progressive organizations to co-design different innovations, social impact innovations, and to train organizations as well on the design thinking mindset and different innovation methodologies. So Carlo here is actually one of our innovation facilitators. Now we've been working with him for a long time. And as Jean has mentioned recently, I'm very proud to be a part of Butuan City's acceleration journey towards becoming one of the grand prize winners for the 2021 Global Mayor's Challenge. The only country in Southeast Asia who won the award. In the Philippines, we actually had two finalists. It was Manila City and Butuan City. But are very grateful because Butuan City was later on declared as part of the top 15, and they were awarded $1 million to implement their innovation. My mission, as mentioned, is to unleash innovation, capability, and creativity in people. So my very quick presentation will focus on 3 points and 3 things. So first, I'm going to share with you my story because I feel like it's also crucial on telling the story of AgriBoost. How did I actually become a design coach or an innovation coach for AgriBoost? So what's the backstory behind it? After sharing with you my story, of course, I'll share more details about AgriBoost, right? And what are its project components. Then lastly, I also share with you some of the lessons learned, insights I gathered while I was guiding Butuan City in improving their innovation project. Okay, so let's start with my story. So I already shared a bit about this. I was a millennial in government. When I was still at the university, I used to be at the OPR or Office of Public Relations. So that was my first job while I was working with my thesis. But when I worked in government at DOST-ICTO, I learned so much. I built my network, but at the same time, I learned that we have so many public servants who are very dedicated, very talented, but at the same time, the bureaucracy is just, hindering them from innovating. Can you tell me in the chat box, please, who here are public servants? So I'm sure you can relate with this. Sometimes, even if you have a groundbreaking idea, the bureaucracy is just not built to enable you to come up with innovative ideas. And that's what I learned when I was working with DOST-ICTO. So during that time, I remember I was often arguing with the accounting department because they would question us, why will you print 1,000 brochures? Why not just print 100? And then I need to explain, ma'am, if you print 100, that will be so expensive, we need to print in bulk. So those types of administrative and procurement problems, right, that really hinders even the most progressive public servants to bring difference and to make a change inside the bureaucracy. And so because of my experience in government, when I left, and I guess I'm a natural entrepreneur, I'm a natural fire starter who likes starting new initiative. So I thought of a project or an initiative that would help public servants, just so I empathize with the experience of being public servant. What can be a program that can help them to innovate? And so in 2018, I joined the YCLE fellowship of the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines. So it's called the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative. Thankfully, I was selected as part of the social entrepreneurship cohort. And I studied for 4 weeks in the University of Connecticut, no, trying to improve my idea of a program on local government innovation. No? So the program was called Bayanivation, so combining bayan, which means town in the Philippines, bayani is hero, and then innovation. So at that time, Bayanivation was really just an idea that we conceptualized together with my co-founders. We didn't know if it's gonna work, but then I said, okay, now I have this opportunity to study in the US, to benchmark, to form connections, maybe raise some funding, you know. And then eventually, after going home, I was talking to mayors who were previously my stakeholders when I was in the government. But then they were like, I don't know, I don't think we can implement this, or we don't have the budget for this, no, to implement this program. So Bayanivation was essentially a 3-day hackathon wherein you will merge youth leaders and public servants in the community and then help them solve, you know, a local challenge in the community. So there were so many challenges in the beginning. I can find an LGU who's interested to adopt this new program. So what I did is I went for another means of funding. So I applied for the US Alumni Engagement Innovation Fund to pilot test at least 3 runs, no, of this program in 3 cities. And that's when we were finally awarded. No, we're very fortunate. We were supposed to pilot it in 3 different cities in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And then when we got the funding, no, the ball started rolling. I talked to Vico Soto, who was also an alumni of YC Lee. So we had our first ever run of Bayanivation in Pasig City. And then right before the quarantine or the lockdown happened in 2020, we also did it in Sipalay City. Okay? And it was very successful. It gathered a lot of positive feedback, not only from the participants, but as well as with citizens, who were able to witness the pitching of ideas of the participants. Last June 2021, we were still in the pandemic, but we wanted to test a face-to-face run. So we had a face-to-face rollout in Del Carmen, Siargao. And this time around, the mayor and the vice mayor, who are our partners, wanted to focus on helping the fishery sector because they're also heavily affected. No? Of course, they're heavily affected by the pandemic. Okay, so these are some examples of innovations that they were able to come up with. No, very successful innovations as well. In fact, the mayor decided to integrate all the solutions and prototypes created by our participants. No, so after the Siargao run, so I was taking a break and I was in Del Carmen. So this is in Del Carmen, but then we went to General Luna. So I was taking a vacation, and then I received a call that changed my life. No? So Sir Bill Luz, the chairman of the Livable Cities Project, called me, and then he said, okay, there's this Boston firm who's looking for a local design coach, who can help this city to develop their project. And then at that time, I really haven't heard of the Global Mayor's Challenge by Bloomberg Philanthropies. So I said, cool, yeah, sure, let's do it, because that's already the work that we're doing, right? So this is like a more international scale or a more like national scale. So then I took the call, I applied and so on. And then little did I know that that was actually for the Global Mayor's Challenge. And I was assigned to coach Butuan City. I'll tell you something. At first, I was very intimidated because I was the only Filipino in a room of international design coaches, because there were 50 finalists, right? And different coaches were assigned to different cities. I suppose I was also one of the youngest. I was really intimidated. I was like, okay, what would my assigned team, be thinking? Maybe I'm too young, or they would want a foreigner one to coach them. But then, I had to conquer those fears and, just guide my team and treat them as winners already. So thankfully, Butuan City is also very progressive. They welcomed me, they embraced me with open arms. And for the next 4 months, we worked together and refine their original project idea. So the original project idea that they submitted to the Global Mayor's Challenge was called I Adapt. And it's pretty much similar, right? So there were components of building an agri-hub, helping farmers, capacitating them, right? But throughout the 4-month acceleration journey, we really dive deeper, ask them to empathize further with farmers, with stakeholders, conduct a lot of interviews, do prototyping, do testing, look for partners, and so on. So these are some photos of some of our touch points, as we call it, during the acceleration phase. And here are some examples of the screenshots of our work. We were doing online workshops. So the virtual acceleration was, of course, it was purely virtual, and we would meet like 4 hours every week. Okay. This is the part where they're trying to categorize all the insights they gathered. They went to their markets, they went to the farms to conduct interviews, to do observations, and so on. All right, so here is the part where they did co-designing with their farmers and middlemen and stakeholders. So it was also a first time for them to do these kinds of activities. Hence, in the beginning, I would say there was a little bit of, like hesitation, because in the co-design process, it is crucial for the innovators or the team to consider your users as also co-creators of knowledge. So in the beginning, they were like, we're not very sure. Farmers here, they might not be that, like proficient. They might not be able to give, like inputs, because most of the time they're used to like projects just being cascaded to them, right? That's often how we do it. There's a very top-down approach when it comes to projects created by the government agencies, and brought down to farmers. Hence the term cascading, right? But then I challenge them, okay, but this is the whole point of design thinking. This is the whole point of co-designing solutions. And if we co-design solutions with our stakeholders, especially the disadvantaged farmers, then we can get more valuable feedback. We can most importantly, get their ownership of the project itself. So after 4 months of hard work of the team, this is on top of their workload, of course, at the local government. These are the prototypes that we came up with. You can visit the website, just search for AgriBoost in Google. So we created the landing page. They even created a mobile app, and this app has been created via a partnership with a local startup, called I think it's called Agritech, something like that, in Butuan City. Yeah, so that's essentially the story of how I came to coach Butuan City. And the original project, as mentioned, was called I Adapt. But through the acceleration phase, I told them, okay, I Adapt is kind of generic. We might want to change it, and to further do branding, refine the idea. And that's how the AgriBoost project has been finally conceptualized and finalized. So this video is a perfect summary of what the AgriBoost project is all about. So I'm going to be playing it.
Butuan is a city of 372,000 people in an 81,000 hectare land area. Half of that is allocated for agri-production. We should be a thriving agriculture, food sufficient and food secure. But are we? Unfortunately, no. Vegetable-wise, we're only 18.72% self-sufficient. We're import-dependent and more expensive by as much as 50%. This unaffordability is a huge problem to 88,000 living below the poverty line. They resort to nutritionally inferior food like instant noodles and junky canned goods. Unaddressed, we'd be eventually facing malnutrition. Here lies the problem. Our farmers are incapacitated, demotivated, and disadvantaged. Our vegetable business ecosystem is trader-dominated and dictated. We must fix the imbalance in the agricultural value chain and improve the system of backward and forward linkages of resource and market access. Our innovation, AgriBoost. AgriBoost is an agribusiness innovation that boosts farmer capacities and catalyzes market forces for a sustainable, food secure, and vibrant community. AgriBoost has 4 components. 1, AgriBloom, which bolsters farmer capacities and competitiveness. 2, AgriHub, which catalyzes market forces. 3, AgriMart, which revitalizes trade and market practices. And 4, AgriBoost.com, which energizes consumers and communities for a vibrant and food-sufficient culture. AgriBloom is all about enhancing production capacity and securing the supply side. It is bolstering farmer production capacities through resource and technical support and capability building. At the core of AgriBloom are organized farmer communities who are committed to the vision and values of the AgriBoost innovation. AgriBloom app, a specially developed mobile app, will facilitate the forging of a supply agreement with the AgriHub. AgriHub is a structural mechanism that catalyzes market forces and enables value chain players to plan and make decisions effectively using data and technology. As a hub, it functions as a buying and processing station that pays fair and competitive farm gate price to farmers and sells to market channels with a social enterprise profit margin. The AgriHub is supported by a web-based enterprise resource planner, ERP, that provides data analytics, supply and demand planning and forecasting, predictive pricing, and price risk mitigation measures. AgriMart is all about revitalizing trade partners and improving consumer touchpoints for easier and smoother consumer experience. AgriMart empowers trade partners by providing planning tools, stimulus packages, marketing and promotion support, and modernized approach to quality handling and packaging. AgriMart has a customized mobile app that links the traders and institutional buyers with AgriHub. The mobile app facilitates the ordering process that culminates in a marketing contract that seals orders at an agreed price, quality, and quantity. AgriBoost.com covers community building and communication drives for a more engaging AgriBoost. AgriBoost communication includes communication platforms for education and promotions targeted at the value chain partners. Among these are the School on Air and AgriBoost.com teleradio programs that feature best practices and learnings in farm management and technologies. When fully in place, we would have a robust agri-sector where farmers are doubly productive and other value chain partners are collaboratively winning together. We would have reduced retail prices by 50% by 2023, and Butuan would be vegetable sufficient by 2023, net exporter by 2025. We would have applied this innovation to commodities like root crops, fruits, and grains. We hope that this innovation would have inspired and enabled other cities in transforming their own agribusiness sector. Learn more about AgriBoost and its 4 components and how the Butuan city government is progressing this innovation concept into a reality.
All right. No? So that is AgriBoost. No? So let me tell you, I'm not an expert in agriculture, right? But I am an expert when it comes to the design thinking process and the co-design process. The members of our team, of course, we have in our team a city agriculturist of Butuan City, some agricultural extension workers, no, someone from their trade office, and so on. No? So some of you might say, okay, the initiatives that's shown in the video for AgriBoost doesn't seem so new. The school on the air, for example, the training for farmers, and so on. Yes, some of it are not new, but I guess what's really different with this innovation of Butuan City, for AgriBoost is they built an ecosystem, right? They built a machine, they want to build a machine rather than the usual type of initiatives that we do at government-related organizations, wherein we do just pockets and pockets of different initiatives without really looking at the bigger picture of how things are related. Hence, making it an agri-ecosystem innovation. And the great thing about this innovation as well is that it's initiated by the local government. And I don't know, I haven't heard of a local government before that's really, pushing for building an ecosystem around their agricultural industry in the Philippines. They also, of course, aim to do predictive pricing, but right now we're still building that data because we know how volatile like agricultural product prices are, right? The AgriHub facility, they were able to prototype it already. They have a grand vision for the AgriHub. But during our acceleration phase, what's amazing is that they found an unused facility in the city. It's an old van terminal that's not used anymore, and then they transformed it into an AgriHub facility. So originally, their project concept was a B2C or a G2C idea, meaning they will contract the vegetables from the farmers and then sell it to consumers. But through our design process, the acceleration process, they figured out that it would be difficult to sell to consumers. Rather, it would be better if we will sell to institutions instead, because they already have existing data on their demand. For example, a hotel will have their predicted demand of repolyo, for example, or kangkong in a given month. So hence, they change it to AgriBoost to businesses or institutions instead of consumers. So here are the 4 components of the project. The AgriBloom focuses on farmer capabilities. The AgriMart is the app that connects the businesses to the demand or to the supply of the farmers. The AgriHub is the physical facility wherein all the transactions will happen, also the quality control and so on. But they also added a comms component because when we were doing our acceleration process, I asked them, okay, we wanted to lower down the price of vegetables in Butuan City because it's too expensive. But my question to you is your demand really high? What if your residents don't really like eating vegetables? So that's also something they considered because they found out that, like many families, aside from vegetables is too expensive, so they don't buy it, there's really not a culture of eating vegetables in Butuan City. So they wanted to incorporate that culture building, which will be through comms and marketing communications. And on January 19, finally, we got the announcement that Butuan City won in the Bloomberg Global Mayor's Challenge. This is a photo of the announcement of the mayor. So everyone was so happy. For us, it was our Heidelin moment, right? Because we were not just representing Butuan City, but we were also representing the entire country in this momentous win. No? So here are our team members. So it's a multidisciplinary team as well. That's very important. If you have an innovation project, we have our city agriculturists, extension workers, marketing persons. Father John here is actually a member of the academe, and they recruited him to be a member, just so we can have a partnership with the academe. So now, what are the lessons we learned along the way? I imparted them a lot of lessons in design thinking, but at the same time, I also learned a lot of things during our process. So number one, agriculture is our most taken for granted sector in the country. I think we already know this. No, all of us know this because you're in the agricultural sector. This is also something they found out in their city. When it comes to rice and corn, they're doing well. And then they realize it's primarily because they have technical experts who are experts, or there are technical experts who are giving advice to corn and rice farmers. But they don't have technical experts in when it comes to vegetables. So that could be the reason why their vegetable farmers are also not motivated, or also not that productive in terms of their produce. Number two, innovation in government requires human transformation. We've trained thousands of people, thousands of public servants when it comes to design thinking. But for innovation to really happen inside a government agency, it doesn't just require building of knowledge. So it really requires human transformation. It requires public servants to have paradigm shifts in terms of what's really possible in the work that they do. Number three, entrepreneurial and innovative spirit in government can be contagious. When other offices saw what we're doing at AgriBoost, so because it was a small ad hoc team, but then the others got curious. Okay, what are you doing? You're doing co-designing, you're doing all these workshops and testing. They got so curious that they also want to adapt the methodology in terms of how they do their respective works in their own department. So sometimes it really just takes, like one game changer or one change maker team inside the government agency for it to spread like wildfire, that new mindset inside the government agency. Number four, true co-design engages most disadvantaged stakeholders as not just interviewees, but also as knowledge creators and designers themselves. So this is something I want to reiterate because honestly, before my experience with Butuan City and the course or curriculum of Butuan City, of Bloomberg, sorry, we would also treat farmers as interviewees rather than knowledge creators themselves. So when we did this with Butuan City, there was more engagement with the farmers. We were very surprised with the inputs they created. We asked them to create app wireframes, and the wireframes they created were so effective because they know it would be useful for them. Of course, that includes, for example, increasing the font size because most of them, can see very clearly. With that process, we made sure that the app will really be useful, will really be easy to use for our farmers. Number five, local government should engage local startups. Before, the staff of Butuan City also had the notion that, okay, if you want experts, we need to get someone from Manila, or we need someone from, like Cebu City, someone from a big or new university and so on. But then there was this small startup in Butuan City. What's great is Butuan City gave them a chance, and this startup also had the opportunity to showcase their talent and to contribute to this project called Agribu. So that's very important. Find local talent, in your local government who can help you transform your idea into reality. Number six, it takes a village to raise a city innovation. Butuan City's innovation team had a very strong support system, and that's very important if you're building an innovation project of this scale, from the local coffee shop, in Butuan City who would let them stay up until the wee hours to project their deliverables and so on, to the local librarian who offered them a headquarters, no, for their team. No, the support system of the entire city was very crucial, no, in making this project a winner and making it a reality. So, and with that kind of engagement, we also got a lot of ownership, right? And support, no, from citizens themselves, no, because they feel that they're part of the process. And then lastly, of course, public sector innovation begins with political will. No? So Butuan City is very fortunate because their local chief executive is an agripreneur himself. So he understands, the agricultural sector. He's also very keen on seeing changes in their agricultural sector. And this project wouldn't be possible if their mayor, no, didn't give the political will, didn't allot resources, no, and time, no, for their team members and staff to work on the project. No? So those are the learnings we got, no, during the process. And so now Butuan City's innovation journey continues. They are on the process of implementing their project. Our dream, of course, is for AgriBoost to be replicated in cities as well. So we also took note of that during the branding. So we want to see, for example, AgriBoost Bataan, AgriBoost Cebu, AgriBoost, and so on. No? So if you're interested to be in touch with Butuan City, no, so please message me via our chat box, no, and I'll be happy to connect you. But at this time, they're still in the process of, implementing it, so it might take a few months before they can build that model, no, for replication. No? And also because of my learnings during the process, we adapted the same methodology we used for Bloomberg, and we created a design challenge for barangays, which recently concluded. And the same way, we saw a lot of great projects, great innovations from our grassroots public servants, so the barangays themselves. And with this, I can truly say that if we only give our public servants the right resources, the right mindset, the right avenue to innovate, no, they will really surprise us, and they will really go beyond, no, to innovate and create people-centered innovations. No? So that's my presentation. Thank you so much, and I hope you learned something, no, from my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Miss Joey, for your presentation. It seems like many were actually able to relate to your experience in working with government and its limitations. But thank you for demonstrating that there are other avenues for nation building. In your case, this is on your story and how you came to coach the AgriBoost project of Butuan. I also note that partnerships that went with it to refine the project and scale it out to the city were important factors, and that agri value chain rang most especially. And in fact, I saw a question posted about it already. We will tackle that later. Thank you. Thanks as well for highlighting co-creating and co-designing, as we are very much high in promoting participation in community interventions because they are, yes, knowledge creators and designers themselves. So to our participants, please keep your questions coming. We will tackle all these later in the open forum. But Ms. Joey, I'll throw two questions your way na before we move on to the other speakers. This was raised both in Facebook and Zoom. So how's the turnout for the farmers? Although I did hear from your closing that they're actually pretty welcoming naman to the idea. But yes, how is the turnout for the turnout of the farmers? And what are the challenges when you tried to engage them, when you presented or when AgriBoost was introduced to them?
All right. So the farmers, we didn't really had a lot of challenge in engaging them, no? Because our local city agriculture's office, no, they're also they have a strong relationship now with our farmers groups. But at the same time, what we realized, no, when we were doing the interviews is that the same group of farmers that are always engaged would always be the one to show up. But there are also others especially in far-flung areas, no, who are not engaged and who sort of gave up when it comes to the support of the government, or who didn't really know that there's support from the government or new projects, no, for them. So that's one challenge we encountered. A lot of farmers showed up. I don't have the exact figures, but for year one of Butuan City's implementation, we are targeting 100 farmers, no, for now. No, that's for year one of implementation.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So we can now move on to our next speaker. We have Miss Iloisa Romaraog-Diga, a former planning analyst at a tech company for 15 years. She was moved to action after learning that some Benguet farmers had to sell a kilo of harvest for only 1 peso because of low demand, just so their families will have food on their table. So Miss Eloisa saw how helping the agriculture industry can help reboot the Philippine economy, sustain millions of livelihoods, and provide food security and reduce global warming. More importantly, she believed in uplifting the morale and giving back dignity to the Filipino farmer. Always looking towards sustainability and maximizing the power of available technology, Miss Eloisa envisioned a community that had access to fresh produce at the rock bottom, and thus we have session groceries. For her efforts, Miss Eloisa has been recognized as one of the 10 outstanding young men of 2021 for agricultural entrepreneurship. Let us all welcome Miss Eloisa.
Hello, good morning, everyone. And I would like to commend Miss Joie for their amazing project. Can we play the video first so everyone can understand what they're doing? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Talaga napakalungkot naman talaga noon. Pag iniisip ko noon, mag-a-harvest ako, bagsak na naman ang presyo. Wala kang magawa. Kung bibilhin na ng piso, yung 1 kilo, bigay mo lang. Ano naman ang kakainan naman ng pamilya pag ganito?
Ang farming ay sugal. Normal yan. Kadalasan kasi mga tanim is 45 days to 60 days. So, dadalhin yan sa trading post. Pagdating no, maasa kami na mataas yung demand at mababa yung supply.
Kung talagang oversupply na, talagang bumabagsak na.
Ayaw mo nang i-harvest kasi pag magkukwenta ka na, wala na. Bahala na.
Wala akong mapapala sa farming. Kinamuhian ko yung pagpa-farm.
Napaka-heartbreaking kasi nung part na yon na in-effortan ni farmer yan. Lahat ng pawis, pagod, pera, panahon, iiwan pa niya ang family niya para lang mag-harvest. Na-realize ko na gusto ko nang tulungan yung mga farmers nung nagiging part na ako ng buhay nila.
Gamit ang kanyang 2-in-1 na galing at talino, napabuti niya ang buhay ng iba. Narito ang kanyang kwento.
So dati kasi ang ginagawa naman namin is purely business. Tapos nag-evolve siya dahil dun sa mga farmers na kailangan talaga ng tulong. Pagka-part siya ng session groceries, i-ensure lang niya na nakakapagtanim siya. So ibibigay niya sa amin kung ilan ang available na products, naka-display yan sa mobile app. Si farmer naman, i-harvest niya yan, i-repack naman ng fulfillment center namin. So ma-check na kung kompleto yung vegetables niya, dalhin sa Manila, sa house to house. Yun na.
Parang too good to be true na kami na yung mag-pricing.
Bigyan natin ng motivation yung mga farmers. I-motivate natin sila, uy sige, magtanim kayo kasi meron tayong market. Poprotektahan nyo kami pero ipoprotect namin kayo.
Meron kasi yung time na pag sasabihin ng anak ko na hindi ko ma-provide dati, nabibigay ko na.
Ganito pala ang farming dapat.
So yun yung vision ko, magkaroon ng true dignity yung farmers natin na pagkatapos nilang magtanim at mabenta yung tanim nila, deserve nilang matulog sa maayos, deserve nilang kumain, deserve nila na pumunta sa lugar na gusto nilang puntahan at makapagpahinga.
Kay Ma'am Iloisa, maraming salamat.
Kaya ate, salamat.
Alam ko marami pa siyang matutulungan.
Napakalaki ng puso mo para sa mahihirap na farmers na tulad namin.
Aasahan nyo rin ang mga farmer ay laging nakasuporta kay Ma'am Iloisa and sa Session Groceries.
Na baka this time, maibigay namin yung deserve ninyo.
Okay, thank you for our presentation.
We can share on your behalf, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, while waiting, Miss Joey, thank you for the amazing project. I would like to scrap our project and just focus on your project. Okay. So we are session groceries. Next slide, please. I would like to. This is our experience here in Benguet. So there's a lot of farmers that are at age of 50 to 60 years old, and they don't want their children to become a farmer. Most of their children are lawyers, engineers. They have a degree and they don't want to become a farmers and now because of that, I can say that because of the limited education, we have a legacy farmers, and this is a very risky business, especially here in Benguet, because we are experiencing 20 typhoons a year that make it hard for the Filipino farmers to thrive on their business. On our next slide. So this is from the Chamali farm, where as mentioned, he always experience typhoon, and when it's summer, he always experience a lot of pests on their crops. So next slide. So because of these issues, I know, and you also know, that we cannot meet local demand as it is. We are growing our population 2% year on year. We are converting a lot of agricultural land to become a subdivision, and youth don't see farming as their career. So maybe your question, why is this? Why we are in this situation? Especially here in Benguet, this is the process. So when a farmer provide or distribute their vegetables here in the trading post, we have one trader. So they will sell it for 10 pesos per kilo. And then another trader to 15 pesos per kilo. And there's a lot of traders in between. When we display it in the stores, it will become 70 pesos per kilo for the customers. I won't say that traders are bad. They have a role in this organization. It's just that we really need to train the farmers to simplify the process. So this is what we are doing in Session Groceries. We, just like what Miss Joey is doing, we develop a mobile application in 2019 where the farmers can sell their produce. They have their own store inside the mobile app, and then our customers are direct to the consumers. But behind that mobile app, we really need to teach every farmers that are involved to have their own farm plan, farm map. They know what to harvest on a weekly basis. They know the production costing. And then we develop a branding and a logo for these farmers. When they display their produce or their store in our mobile app, they should know how to take the orders. They will deliver to us. They will package it accordingly. They should have the delivery receipt, sales and expense report, the payment after sales service. I noticed that we have one question to Joey, that how hard it is to connect with the farmers. In a scale of 1 to 10, I can say it's 10, because there's a lot of farmers who will not trust you on this new venture. And always we need to prove as an organization that we are for the farmers. So how the system converted to, so for this, we target the three areas: the people, the farmer, and the consumer, the processes that we have, and then the technology. Now because we want these farmers to become an entrepreneur, we developed in 2021 a Farmers Academy. So prior, in 2019 and 2020, prior the pandemic, we we just meet these farmers informal. So we just have some coffee. We ask what are their problems. But in 2021, we develop a farmers academy where we teach them a lot of things about how to convert their farming into business. We equip these farmers by knowing, as mentioned a while ago, what to plant, when to harvest. We professionalize these farmers by having their own brand. Farmers was trained to take, they also have the technology. We ask everyone to have their mobile banking. They should have their personal bank, and they should have their business account. So we also have these farmers who can issue their check, but yes, we need to ensure that they are responsible on issuing check. So we also have inventory system. We have these farmers should know their email. They should know how to use the email, the Google Drive. So for them to be empowered. Okay, so this is one example on innovation. We always claim that the farmers in Benguet, or especially our partner farmers, are producing a safe produce. But we always say to these farmers that when you have those claims, you should have evidence that you are really producing a safe produce. So we ask them to have their own nitrate testers. So also we have our partner farmers to have their QR codes. This is our own version of farmers DNA on every packaging. So if you will just scan it, you will see who are the farmers behind that product. In 2021, so we already have the data. And then we noticed that 40% from the total harvest are being scrapped. So with the help of De La Salle University and One Concord, we were able to convert the produce to another byproduct. So here are the sample. Here are the partner farmers. Okay, so this is Alfredo and Emilia, and their produce is wing beans and bitter gourd. So we teach them. We have an 8-module program here of De La Salle University, and this is Sherwin De Gula, the food scientist. Then he helped us to develop to have another byproduct for the farmer. So this is the sample of that byproduct. We ensure that the packaging is high end. We have here the QR codes, and now we are developing products to have it on the FDA. They should have their nutrient facts and halal certification, so we can ship it internationally. We were able to develop around 21 products just because of that idea. Okay, so this is the impact for the farmers. They were able to pay their debts. They were able to purchase their own farm because they are renting in 2019. They were able to buy their delivery cars. They were able to invest a lot. They were able to develop their farm, and most importantly, they have savings. So here are the samples of the partner farmers that were able to purchase or invest for their farm. So I can say that with the 38 partner farmers, we are successful on converting them to become an agripreneurs, because we still stick to our mission, that is to develop agri entrepreneurs farmers. Okay, so these are the first class farmers. So what Session Grocers is offering, we were able to develop a 38 partner farmers here in Benguet, one in Ilocos, one in Zambales, one in Batangas, and in Mindoro. So we are serving customers since 2019 in NCR, Cavite, Laguna, Rizal, Batangas, Bulacan, and Pampanga. So our products are vegetables, 80%, and we have around 20% for the seafoods and other pasalubong products because we were able to develop a byproduct. So we cannot do this alone. We have different organizations behind us, and we are so grateful that there are companies who trust us. So again, thank you. Our vision for tomorrow is that the farmers can help boost our economy because they are now paying their taxes. They are now hiring personnel to help them grow their business. Next slide. Okay. So we have a project. So since we were able to develop a byproduct for these farmers, and of course we need market. We have a program to sell around 100,000 products in the next 6 months for the farmers. This can help them develop their farms, and this can also help them develop their facilities, and they can be able to facilitate their certifications. So I hope we have some audience here who can help or would like to participate in this program. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Okay, thank you, Miss Iloisa, for sharing the scope of Session Groceries. I noted as well when you mentioned that you successfully converted farmers to agripreneurs. That is a mission we at SEARCA also seek to promote, actually. When our farmers are well capacitated, they are enabled to become more active players in the economy. So thank you for your presentation. We have there are certain items for the panel discussion later that I think we'll be able to provide more insights for. So now I am going to move on to our next part, the panel discussion, and I would like to call on Mr. Carlo Valencia to join us. But before that, please let me do introduce him. Since leaving the startup he founded in 2016, Sir Carlo has been an educator, corporate trainer, startup founder and coach, as well as an advocate for innovation. In all that he does, he advocates a begin by understanding and a fail fast, often, and forward mindset to all his students. He is a student of mindfulness, practices gratitude, as well as radical transparency in all that he does. And as with most people affected with the pandemic, he found himself restarting his career from a focus on corporate innovation training in 2018 and most of 2019. He has now pivoted into creating web workshops, coaching programs, and online courses for startup founders and SMEs using the same principles of design thinking, lean startup, and agile that he espouses. He was also the lead facilitator and mentor for the 2021 Innovation Olympics of the Emerging Innovation for Growth Department here at SEARCA. And as I have mentioned earlier, Sir Carlo also serves as our consultant for the SEARCA Agri Innovator program, which we are soft launching today. So he will introduce that program and give further details later after the panel discussion. So please do stay please do stay tuned for that. Okay, I'd like to invite all our panelists. Please do open your cameras so that we can all be highlighted and we can start our discussion.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Jean, for the introduction. It's like you know me so well.
All right.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Joie and Miss Iloisa. Thank you for your presentations. I'm seeing a lot of engagement, lots of inspiration. So great. Great way to start the day. Nandiyan na ba si Joie?
Okay, behind there, away from keyboard lang si Miss. Okay, we have Miss Joey now. Let me just add her. Okay, now all set for our panel discussion. I'd like to start lang by mentioning that last 19 and April, SEARCA together with Filipinas Shell conducted the Agri Innovations Forum. And there were 3 sub-themes that were tackled. And based on your respective experiences, please do allow me to bring this up to you and see your opinions and like based from your experience, how do you think or what is your opinion that you can share with our audience? First would be upscaling agribusinesses. And I think this is something that Miss Joey can respond to. And I see that you were able to respond actually to some of the questions already in the chat box. Like some wanted, there was a question if it could be replicated to other cities as well. And you responded that for now it's with Butuan City. Would you know if there are like any initiatives to like maybe expand this to other cities in the Philippines, ma'am?
That is definitely the plan, Jean. No? But as mentioned, Butuan City is still in the phase of implementation. No? There's a firm called Delivery Associates right now who's assisting them with the implementation. So it will take some time, especially now that, this whole election, diba, is coming, So there are plans to replicate. That's the goal. That's the vision. We want this to be an open innovation, meaning anyone can replicate it, in their own localities. So definitely please like our Facebook page. You can find our Facebook page by typing Butuan City, Bloomberg challenge, something like that, so that you'll be updated, once the team is ready, to accept interest from LGUs who'd like to replicate.
Okay.
I
Yes, go ahead, Sir Carlo.
I was just gonna add, like, what I searched for Butuan City Joey Cruz champion. Yeah, and then I was like, oh, okay, AgriBoost. That's how I found it.
Let me add then, Gino, there's a question about scaling up. When it comes to scaling up, a private business, for example, Session Groceries or private initiative, me personally, I believe that you still need capital, to really scale up. And Butuan City was just very fortunate because, as I have mentioned in one of the answers in Q&A, their local government reallocated funding. They even gave like twice the amount of the price as counterpart. So you can see that the chief executive is really dedicated and committed to implementing this idea. Yeah. So for scaling up, we will still need resources and capital for that.
Yes, actually, I saw a question here that was raised about the IRA that was allocated to Butuan for this particular agriculture program. So thank you for responding to that. Ma'am, I have this one question that they asked, maybe sa scalability, you have encountered this, and maybe Miss Iloisa has experience on this as well, that one key challenge is the unavailability of data and volatility of the market. So how does this affect, like, when you're conducting or like, trying to implement these innovations? Is this something that you anticipate and then you prepare for? You clinch, or you roll out something and then the volatility of the market happens, and then how do you make the process iterative? Miss Eloisa first, maybe? Ma'am, nakamute po.
Sorry about that. Yeah, it's a good question. That actually that's still our problem until now. But if the government can just help us on the data because they have the access on who are the farmers, that's better. But now we have a program to have the data, or we are encouraging a lot of farmers here to provide the data for us. So yeah, it's data is power, as we all know. But just to answer your question, Miss Jean, it's still our problem.
Yeah, I think this is something that probably Sir Carlo will tackle later. But also in the Agri Innovation Forum that we had 2 weeks ago, there was also a section there on digital inclusion. And of course, when you have data, how are you going to process it? Syempre, dapat may digital inclusion. And with Session Groceries, we implemented this application. How were you able to factor that in? That you were able to reach out to the farmers, they won't be intimidated by this digital age, ganyan po. What was your approach to that?
Yeah, at first you cannot introduce to these farmers technologies such as this. What we let me check. What we did is that we first we asked them to have a coffee with us. We first we what we did is we have some conversation on what are their problems, what are the possible solution, and um, it takes us around 1 year before we were able to convince them that this is the solution that we can offer you. So the question is always, what's in it for me? When you're discussing it with the farmers, that's the question. So when we were able to sell, or we were able to prove ourselves that yes, we can do this, it's the time that we were able to ask them that you use this, you get your own identification, so you can open your bank account, you download the application, you need to, so there's a lot of instruction that we are now dealing with them. But yes, first we need to, what we did is, what's in it for me as a farmer, what can you offer me? So yeah, that's it.
What did you
Thank
offer
you,
the
Miss Iloisa.
farmers? Like, what
Yeah.
was the answer to what's in it for me?
Sales. So when we were able to provide a market for them, that's the
Amen.
time that they
Right.
were able to believe on our vision and mission.
Yeah. So I
Cool.
guess the buy-in, right, Sir Carlo? Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
you have to get the buy-in from them, so that also they
Yes.
have a sense of agency. That's something that we want to highlight, so that we can convince them to engage into this agri innovation
Yeah.
initiatives.
Also, just to emphasize, when Miss Eloisa started, the main problem was 1 peso per kilo.
That's
Punot
correct.
dulo pa lang pera na eh. Right?
Oo.
So if you come to them and say, we're gonna give you an app. Pero, di ba? But if you come to them and say, we're gonna get you more sales.
Yeah, that's
But
correct.
you need to learn how to use the app. You need to use an ID. You need to do X and Y and Z. So, so right. So there. So if you're able to solve a problem for people, it's very easy to convince those people to do what they don't normally do.
That's correct.
But there's something that I would like to raise that maybe Miss Joey naman maybe Miss Joey can respond to when it comes to what happened in Butuan. What about the timeline? It took for Session Groceries a year. What about Butuan City?
Well, as I mentioned, we're still in the implementation phase, right? No, so very early in the implementation. But what's brilliant about this whole process designed by Bloomberg, no, when we were doing the acceleration phase, because during the application phase, it was still a concept, no, an idea. But because of the acceleration phase, so the 4-month acceleration phase, they were able to do interviews, empathizing, prototyping, testing in a very short amount of time. Mind you, the 4-month acceleration phase we did, if that's a normal government process, I would assume it would take, at least 1.5 years to 2 years to accomplish what we have accomplished in 4 months, no? And if you join the program here of Carlo, I think that's also what you're going to go through, right? There's also an acceleration phase. And that's the whole, I'm advertising your program. That's the whole value of the innovation, of a structured innovation program. No? So you want to fast track because you also don't want to lose the momentum. So momentum is very important when you're embarking on an innovation project. No? So the faster you can do it, the faster you can fail, and then the faster you can iterate, diba? And improve on your idea.
Yes, that is a very, very much a design thinking school of thought entry. All right. One thing that was highlighted during the innovation forum that we had, and I think this is very common then, because we also mentioned it earlier. From the very start, the issue was it was 1 peso for the farmers, right? And that's true. Investment and finance modalities are always a concern. That's why there's always hesitation. So what do you think would be like? What are the how would they phrase this? How would you get them to invest or like be convinced that or be confident enough that they can push through with this innovation despite the investment and finance modalities or the lack what they perceive are lacking of options for financing and investments? Because you know what, there will always be a response, right? But the financial the banks are there, financial institutions are going to be there. It's all out there, but there's always a hesitation from the side of the farmers. So how, in your experiences with Session Groceries in Butuan City, how did you overcome that factor?
Yeah, it's
Maybe
good.
Miss Eloisa first, yeah.
Yeah, it's good that you mentioned Miss Jean. That's the number one problem. We have we have traders here who are offering a financial assistance, but the interest rate is at 10% for the farmers. So can you just imagine the farmers are thriving and yet they have this um shark loans.
Per
Now,
month?
yeah, per month, Sir Carlo.
Right.
So what we are again teaching these farmers that hey, we have land bank who can offer you 2% a year, and yet you are not maximizing it. The problem with that is that the problem with this farmer is that since they don't set their farm into business, there's a lot of requirements, and that's really necessary for the banks. But they cannot provide an AFS, ITR. It's because when you say ITR, AFS to a farmer, it's a word coming from Mars. What's that? Um, when you say documentation, you need to get your business permit. They cannot see the value of it. It's because there's no one helping them to at least come on. Let's do the documentation. It's easy. It's for a first timer. It's a tough job, but if you can just equip yourself and you will do this on a yearly basis, it's okay. So part of the program, I think Miss Joey, if they can, we can partner with Taxumo or some of the application that we already have, like Peddler. It's a good opportunity for the farmers. So yeah, that's again another problem that we really need to solve.
All right, thank you, Miss Eloisa. Miss Joey.
And let me add to that. No, so I really agree with Miss Eloisa. No, our farmers, when it comes to computing how much their profit is, they don't really know how to do that. No, so and as Bloomberg said, if you can't measure something, then you can't manage it, right? So we really need to empower and capacitate our farmers on first the business mindset, because in the Philippines, agribusiness, it's something that, the concept of agribusiness is something that's only available or accessible to those who are able to, finish college, right? Or have some at least, like college graduate or degree, right? But I think what we really need to do is to make our farmers as entrepreneurs themselves, no? Have an entrepreneurial mindset, um, have them treat their farms as a business and not just, a livelihood, because that's two different things. Just the fact of separating, for example, your livelihood or your living expenses to your income at the farm. It's a very basic thing that, some of our farmers need to learn. No? So there's really a lot of work that needs to be done in capacitating our farmers. But I think changing mindsets, making them entrepreneurs should be a priority. No? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Miss Joey. Before I close this panel discussion, I'd like to anchor on what you said about mindset. We had actually one farmer who responded in the open forum. He said that yes, they are very appreciative of the interventions. They acknowledge the importance, although they acknowledge the importance that to be able to convince them, buy in is such a huge factor, and that there should be change in mindsets. Yes. So, as Miss Joey said in her presentation earlier, I saw that innovation requires human transformation. So I will close the panel discussion to that because I am now about to turn over the floor to Sir Carlo to process everything that we just discussed, so that um he can redirect our discussion to how we can make on how we can now that we've fleshed out, that design thinking is important for agri innovation. this is where Sir Carlo comes in. But before I let Sir Carlo start, I just want to reiterate that on the term agri-innovation, we at SEARCA, we are actually promoting as well the need to be context specific when we introduce interventions. So these interventions should be responses to needs and not the other way around, where you have a framework and you have um, to fit addressing a problem by making use of a certain framework. It has to be the other way around. And as such, I am now going to turn the screen over to Sir Carlo to discuss more in depth the design innovation success and the pre-launch of the Circus Innovator, IB Innovator program. Sir Carlo?
Great. Thank you very much, Jean. Let me just finish my setup here. Okay. Thank you, Jean. And thank you, everybody, for staying all the way up to now. I hope the two presentations earlier inspired you if you are in agriculture, if you are in innovation, or in both, definitely. Very inspiring. So we're going to be talking a little bit about what we've observed and what I advocate for that enables essentially innovation success, right? This is what we've taught in the Innovation Olympics. This is also what we're going to be talking a lot about in the Agri Innovator. Just a little bit about me. I'm from corporate. I was in the training department, started my own startup, raised funds, spent it all, and made all the mistakes first-time founders make. After that, when I left in 2016, since then, I've spent most of my time teaching people essentially how to avoid the mistakes that I've made using the frameworks that I teach, which is design thinking, lean, and agile. We've had the opportunity to be working with a lot of large corporations, government agencies, as well as startups, and of course, agri-startups. So we're going to focus today on design thinking. Joey mentioned this earlier, that we've run workshops together in the past. I'm also part of her facilitator pool, so I run workshops for her. And this is fundamentally the process that Joey followed, which led her to the success of AgriBoost. Can I get a quick, by the way, heads up for those people watching and listening. I'm going to be engaging you guys, so be ready to chat starting now. What for you is design? Ano sa tingin natin ang design? Kasi we're starting like designing innovation success. Ano ba ibig sabihin nun? Pagandahan ba tayo ng produkto? Pagandahan ng app? Let me know on the comments. Let me know on Facebook as well. If you're watching this through Facebook. I have that open na kanina. Meron ba? Willing mag-try? What is design? Sige, in the interest of time, I'm going to move forward. So a lot of people think design is making things pretty, making things look good. But actually, in reality, design is problem solving. Even if you are making a beautiful logo, a beautiful app, you're designing the inside of a restaurant, or you're designing a new product, a new feature, or you're designing a new craft, right? All of this is for the purpose of solving a problem. Different ang art sa design. So design is for solving problems. Art is to express. So we're going to be talking about this. What does it mean? And how does design and design thinking apply when it comes to innovation? So first, before I talk to you about what is good design, let me talk to you about what is bad design. Is this good design or bad design? Let me know on the chat or let me know on Facebook. Good design ba to?
Bad daw, sir, bad.
Bad, diba? But if you think about it, or if you look closely, these are high quality materials, right? Dekalidad, may bidet, may tiles yung floor, di ba? Masarap gamitin. Except, there are 3 of them, but no walls. So, medyo mahirap. So bad design. Kung pilosopo ka, or sabi ng iba, good design daw to kung magbe-best friend kayo for moral support. But otherwise, bad design. So I did a little bit of Google search on what are bad agricultural practices. Can anybody tell me what this is and why this is bad? Anybody? And I'm opening up our Facebook. Culturally inappropriate design. All right.
Can't figure out what the plant is though.
Oh, okay. Sorry about
Waterlogged,
that.
sir. Someone said
Yeah,
waterlogged.
I researched bad agricultural practices. I got this number 1, which is flood irrigation, meaning just filling up the place with water, and the other one is crop burning. Right. So, anybody want to comment? What are other bad agricultural practices or badly designed agricultural activities? Wrong planning, waterlogged, really bad. Okay, great. So when you burn crops, it causes smog. It doesn't really help so much. The soil does a lot of bad things. So also bad design. Solves a little bit of a problem, but doesn't really solve or it might solve your initial problem, but it's going to give you more problems. So still bad design, diba? So what happens when we use design thinking then? What happens if we're able to use design thinking for innovation? First of all, before we jump into design thinking for agriculture, let me tell you that design thinking is one of it is the most popular method or innovation principle or methodology that is used by some of the largest companies in the world. In Google, they don't call it design thinking. They call it the Google way. In Facebook, everybody watching here has successfully used a well-designed product by Facebook, right? And by Zoom. Nobody taught you how to watch a live webinar, yet here you are. So Nike, Salesforce, Apple, Bank of America, all of these large companies and several others, Globe and Smart, use design thinking to build new products and come up with great services. Here in the Philippines, one of the examples that I'd like to highlight is this thing called AIRIN, Automated Irrigation and Nutrient Management. It's one of the winners from last year. Essentially, the problem they found is that small farm owners who also manage their farm, kumbaga yung pagtutubig ang pinakamahirap. They know watering is going to be good for them, but how much water when is not readily available and for what crop, right? So they're developing this currently, or this is one of the earlier versions. There's a solar panel, the pump obviously inside, and the computer to determine how much water should be should be given to the crops. One of the things they found out actually is yung solar panels, sabi ng mga farmers, nakawin yan, right? and that's really important. That's really good feedback as well. I can't remember what they did to resolve that issue, right? But one of the things they recognized is if they're going to leave this in the farm, the likelihood of theft might be high. So that's feedback that allows them to improve further the system. Ballzip naman is a cable suspended drone for pest monitoring. Initially, they had something similar, and as you can see, it's still very much in the prototype sense. But this solution idea is coming from a place of empathy. They understood that spraying insecticides could be bad, that vehicles rolling over certain crops are bad as well. A lot of things. Also, one of the things that they've understood actually is that because it's hanging, these things need to be lightweight. And the thing you're looking at here is actually about the second or third iteration already. But also not just in local tech products. The Food and Agriculture, UNFAO, Food and Agricultural Office, actually has this project called the Indus Basin Climate Resilient Agriculture and Water Management Project. In this project, they are building a platform essentially to collect the data. If you guys don't know, Indus Basin is kind of like is a river that flows through most of Pakistan or half of Pakistan, and essentially is a livelihood for several million people, or is a source of livelihood for several million people. One of the things they want to do is essentially transform how people farm, how people work around the land. And to succeed, they need to be measuring things. If they're going to be measuring things, the objective is to collect that and allow for actionable recommendations. All of that is being done under the framework and under the mindset of design thinking. So what exactly is design thinking, right? Well, design thinking first is a mindset. And that's what I'd like to hopefully impart with you guys. If given a problem, given a new product, or meron akong bagong, tech idea, meron akong agri-innovation that I want to do, I want to create a marketplace, I want to create a new crop, you want to begin with understanding the people you want to help, then the problems they want to solve. When you're understanding, you're not thinking about your idea or your product. You're only thinking about the people you want to help. Empathy, kumbaga. If you're asking people, by the way, what people think about your idea, that is not empathy. Finally, secondly, the second main mindset is fail fast, cheaply, and forward. And Joey actually showed some really good prototype examples earlier, and that allows you to fail. That allows you to collect the feedback, right? In innovation, and in technology, in business, if you're doing something new, failing is part of the process. You're not going to be able to avoid it. So knowing that you cannot avoid failure, how do you manage it? And the way to manage it is by making it happen right away. Make a prototype so that you can collect feedback and test your assumptions and see, was that thing that I created something that my customers, my farmers, or the people that I want to help, is it something they want, something they need, something they understand? And if not, collect the feedback and then try again. Make the changes and try again. Design thinking is also a framework. So it's not just a mindset, it's also a framework. There's a universal, not a universal, but commonly accepted definition. It is a human-centered approach to innovation. It takes the designer's toolkit and integrates it with the needs of the people, the possibilities of technology, and of course, the requirements for business success. Because if you cannot sustain it from a business standpoint or from a financial standpoint, then that initiative might still die, even if people love it, right? So all three are important. How does this framework work? First, you empathize. You, like we mentioned, begin with understanding. Here again is Joey in one of our projects running interviews with one of our target audience. They're essentially a social enterprise. They produce peanuts. And we wanted to understand essentially what are the challenges in managing, essentially we were in their little factory. One way to acquire empathy is through interviews. Another way to acquire empathy is through immersion. So we were interviewing this guy, 19 years old, owns this little silkworm, cloth making thing, right? And then so he was very proud, very busy as well. And then he showed us the factory, and then he sat down in his office, and I realized he didn't have a laptop, he didn't have a computer. What you're looking at here is his work area. And I know it's difficult for a lot of people to understand that now, di ba? Pero wala siyang laptop. Cellphone lang. You have an order, meron silang order sa cellphone. Supplies, cellphone. Track, sales and costs, ayan, no, nandun sa notebook, ayan yung mga acknowledgement receipts. This is his computer or his office, right? And we wouldn't know that, Joey and I wouldn't have known that if we hadn't gone to the place. We would have assumed na may laptop siya. So that's really, and when you're able to empathize, you're now able to start defining the people that you're serving, the people that you're hoping to serve. This is one of the personas or proto-personas one of our participants created. This is ambitious Jerome. He's a farmer, long hair, pero gusto niyang umunlad, no girlfriend since birth, pero very idealistic, right? So, Glenda naman, Dimagiba, the enthusiastic traveler, office worker, right? So it depends really. Building a product, just because you built a product, just because you built an app doesn't mean people are going to flock to it. So you want to understand, who are we building this for? You can also create journey maps once you empathize, journey maps allows you to understand the experiences of people. What is it that they're going through and how they feel step by step. And then you convert these challenges into opportunities using this thing called the how might we statement. I won't dive too deep into it already, but fundamentally what we want to do is we want to convert these challenges into an opportunity. Pero hindi pa yung idea yon. It's just the area where we want to play around with that allows us to focus, that allows us to come up with lots and lots of ideas. And if you've ever been in a brainstorming session na sobrang humaba, design thinking has something for you. Before I proceed, can anybody tell me, sino ba dito yung mga, hey Aaron, hey Micah pala, sorry. Can anybody, yung mga naka-experience na ng brainstorming session na sobrang humaba, let me know on the chat kung gaano katagal yung pinakamatagal yung debate na nangyari. For me personally, it became 2 hours before I learned design thinking anyway, where it was first a debate on how to do, how to present something, na uwi sa how do we do a fundraising round. So 2.5 hours. Let me know if you have or if you've been in longer debates. So in design thinking, we believe that great ideas come from a lot of ideas. But how do you avoid these debates and how are you able to do this quickly? So first step is you generate a lot of ideas. At this step, bawal makipagkontrahan, bawal makipag-debate. No debating, no contradicting, no questioning, no bullying, right? Just everybody writes down their ideas. The power of this one lies in the ability to make even the quiet people actually share their ideas by helping them speak up by writing it down. So once we have all the ideas together, we start categorizing, we start voting, and we start deciding of all these ideas that we came up with, what's the best idea that we should run with? And those best ideas, we should now start prototyping. Prototyping can come in various ways. This is a prototype actually of the Department of Agriculture wanting to optimize their processes. So the Department of Agriculture, you probably know, provides technical assistance to farmers. One of the challenges that our participants from the Department of Agriculture had was, it takes so long, the process takes so long. By the time na nakuha ni farmer yung technical assistance, by the time the farmer gets the technical assistance, the farmer's already super irritable, super mad because it took so long. He doesn't need the technical assistance anymore, and he's just generally mad. So initially the idea was pretty simple. Let's give the farmers a checklist so they know what to do. And then so we said, this is also a workshop Joey and I ran. We told the participants, hey, why don't you walk us through how that's gonna be done? How are they going to use the checklist? So the story goes, farmer applies. That's ambitious Jerome, by the way, with the long hair. They get the checklist. So he goes through the checklist. He He submits the papers, he attends workshops. Eventually, he will fly to Manila or to the capital, and then it gets approved. Cuts it down from 6 months or 1 year, and then able to bring it down to 2 to 3 weeks. This is now one of the participants pretending to be ambitious Jerome, so that people are able to see exactly the flow. Why are we doing these paper prototypes? Why are we making them actually act out the process? Essentially, what we want to do is we want to turn our ideas into a tangible form so we can collect the feedback right away. Hindi yung magde-develop tayo and then only then will we collect the feedback. We should create prototypes, starts with low fidelity, and then we can do high fidelity later on so that we can test our ideas, so that we can collect the feedback and figure out how to improve, how to move forward with our ideas. This is software as well. Obviously, everything I'm showing you here can be done remotely. It can be done through digital manners. I just chose to show here paper examples just so that, to emphasize that innovation does not mean technology. Innovation means the ability to find a problem and solve it well, right, in a sustainable manner. So once you have that prototype, like I mentioned, you can start testing it, you can collect feedback. This is another example of a prototype. Essentially, Krisha, our participant, wanted to test essentially a text-based solution, right? So you press 1, they'll take the post-it out. You press 2, ibabalik nila. And the key thing that they needed to test is, are people able to follow through that process of actually, are they able to understand the messaging? Or kailangan ba nila, do they need to make changes to it, right? And you'll never know until you test it, but you don't need to develop the whole SMS solution. You can just write it down, prototype it, and then figure it out. Figure out if you can, I apologize. Figure out if you can actually develop, figure out if your assumptions are true. That's generally the steps of design thinking and the design thinking framework. And that's the foundation of what we're going to be talking about now, which is the SEARCA's Innovator Program. So essentially what we hope to do together with SEARCA is to help innovators in agriculture or in the ARD space to succeed in innovation. And how do we do this? Is we provide them guidance to take a human-centered approach to innovation. So what is this Agri-Innovator? And so it's a non-formal short-term training program. There are 3 modules. You need not take all 3 right away. So module 1, idea generation. Module 2, we test your idea, we validate your idea. Module 3 is we start growing and implementing your idea. In module 1, these are essentially live workshops. These are all currently remote, but in the future, there's probably going to be face-to-face workshops. Module 2 is going to be one-on-one group coaching. So module 1 is where you learn everything, but you're also applying what you're learning. Module 2, you're applying more of what you're learning. Now you're testing. You're really testing your ideas. And then module 3, you're working with industry experts on how to fully implement it. You're probably thinking, how much time do I need to commit to this thing? Well, module 1 is 4 weekly remote sessions. Typically, a workshop is 4 hours. The lesson and the activities included there. But you do need to have some, to spend some time between sessions doing the activities. Of course, the weekly sessions, the coaching sessions are an hour to a couple of hours, and then the mentoring sessions about the same time. What happens? So if you graduate module 1, you are a novice innovator, graduate practicing innovator for module 2. And once you're able to implement it, we are very happy to award you the expert innovator title. Is this for you? Well, if you have a solution idea or a problem worth solving that is aligned to SEARCA's 11th 5-year plan, the then absolutely. If you are an agri entrepreneur, farmer entrepreneurs, or farmer organizations, also if you're in the academe, if you're part of the youth organization, special mention to SIAP, but not necessarily just. Of course, our regional stakeholders from CMO are very much invited. You should be interested if you have a project. If you have a project that you want to undertake, you don't know yet how to proceed, you feel like this is going to solve all the problems of innovation. This is going to be great. We're going to help make the world a better place. We're going to make the Philippines a stronger country. Absolutely, you should let us know. If you have a problem worth solving, you don't know how to solve it, but there is a problem that you see in your community that needs to be solved. Or if you have an idea on how to solve it, or if your role essentially specializes in or focuses in on innovation projects or projects in general in helping people, then you absolutely should be interested. Let us know by filling out the feedback form later on. Jean will also give you more information, as well as Jean will let you know. So let us know on the chat. So if I join, or if you join, what is this thing that you're expected to learn? This is, after all, a learning program. Just to emphasize that though this is a learning opportunity, what we want to emphasize here, this is not just to learn, but to actually apply the thing that you learn towards your project or towards solving a problem that you want to solve. So what will you learn exactly? First, you learn how to empathize. Joey mentioned this earlier about talking to farmers, talking to LGU officers and officials, and the middlemen. Miss Iloisa mentioned that as well. And really, it's about asking the right questions, talking to the right people. Like I mentioned earlier, asking people about your idea doesn't give you any valuable information. But asking people about their frustrations, their challenges, and their goals relative to your idea is definitely going to help. Then you want to define it. You want to collect all this information and define the challenge so that you can come up with lots of good ideas, create low fidelity prototypes, and then test them. Of course, if you're able to do this, if you're able to complete this, you're able to also apply this even outside this project, and you can do it for all the other future projects. Doing so, we truly believe, and I've seen it practically as well, starting from a baseline of empathy allows you to minimize risk of failure, allows you to minimize the project cost, and then allows you also to maximize your success and maximize your potential for revenue. Should you join? We're pretty open right now. This is a soft launch, like we mentioned. The thing that we would like for you to have if you are thinking about joining is, number one, like I mentioned, the project that you're going to apply the learning to. Also the time and capacity to join the workshops and perform the activities, and the willingness to document and share. So this is not just sit down and listen. This is going to be listen, do, and learn, and then try again. And that's essentially the Agri Innovator Project. Aligned to the 11th FYP, SEARCA's 11th 5-year plan priority areas. Time and mental capacity is something I think we all need. So that's why ideally this is a project you're already working on or you're passionate about. Of course, we're going to be documenting your journey. Don't worry, we're going to help you on that. So that's it. Be an Agri Innovator. Let us know, training@searca.org, or you can let us know on the chat. Of course, you can also message the SEARCA Facebook page for more information. All right. And that is it for me, Miss Jean. Do we have questions?
All right. I think in the interest of time, we will just ask our participants to send your questions at our training@searca.org email address, which we will post in the chat box. It is now in the chat box. Thank you. So thank you, Sir Carlo, for your presentation, for highlighting what design thinking could do. And for us here at SEARCA, our stakeholders are all from the agriculture and rural development sector. So yes, this is an opportunity. The SEARCA Agri Innovator Program is an opportunity for those of you budding agripreneurs or agri innovators to help implement whatever ideas it is that you may have, or whatever problems that you have tackled in your own communities. You may bring it, or you may use that when we open the call for the SEARCA Agri Innovator Program. And then maybe we can help you out through your participation in the training, to help refine your ideas, create your solutions, and whatnot. So thank you, Sir Carlo, for that. Thank you for showing us what design thinking could do as an opportunity to overcome agriculture barriers. And thank you as well to Miss Iloisa and Miss Joie for their examples today. So please do watch out for our announcement with more details for our upcoming SEARCA Agri Innovator Program. Today is actually just a soft launch of our Agri Innovator Program. So because we want to feel the pulse about it. The feedback form that will be provided to you, there is a link that's going to be posted after this webinar. There is a question there that will ask you what agri concern or problem do you have in your respective communities, and what do you think are innovations that could be a solution to these problems. So we have that. When we get your feedback, we will be able to refine our program, and by that time later this year, at the latter part of this year, when we release the call, we will have more details for everyone. So please do note, just a reiteration, sorry, announcements will be put on SEARCA's Facebook page. So please do like our Facebook page. You may also check our website at www.searca.org. So so since we don't have time anymore, trainings, questions may be sent to training@searca.org, and we will be able to respond to you regarding your queries. So that sums up our forum, our open forum, our discussion today. Thank you, Ms. Joie, Ms. Iloisa, and Sir Carlo for sharing all your insights. We hope our audience today have light bulb moments for agri innovation. So thank you. On behalf of SEARCA, led by our director, Dr. Gian Gregorio, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to Ms. Iloisa, Ms. Joie, and Sir Carlo for taking the time to join us today. It has been a pleasure to have you with us this morning. That ends our webinar, but before we close, please let us know what you think about today's Solve webinar by following the link to the feedback form. It is now being flashed on your screens. It will be typed in the chat boxes as well. Follow this link. Your feedback will help us improve our online learning events and help us refine our SEARCA Agri Innovator Program by the time that we launch it later this year. Please note that we will only accommodate requests for e-certificates within 24 hours after the end of this webinar. Kindly wait for your e-certificate to be issued at least within a month, as we receive a lot of requests for e-certificates. So thank you for your understanding and patience. Please join us again for our next online conversation on March 25 at 10 in the morning. Our topic will be about gender and youth engagement in agriculture and rural development, or ARD. So please don't miss it. Let us help one another get through this COVID-19 pandemic. We hope that as we go along, we will be able to create a community of better, bigger, and smarter farmers and farming communities. Once again, this is Jean Labias for SEARCA. Have a good day. Stay healthy, stay safe, and goodbye, everyone.